This episode of A Hero's Journey podcast is brought to you by JPS Computers out of Oregon, S&P Inc. right here in Las Vegas, and Rock Rage Radio listeners out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to shout out actually to True Beauty by Trevor. True Beauty by Trevor. I can't even talk today, but I want to thank him for everything that he's done for us. My name is Brian, and behind the camera running this show is Chase, the voice.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, this is an episode of A Hero's Journey podcast. And A Hero's Journey podcast is just a reminder that each and every one of you wakes up the hero of your own story. What are you going to do? What's the hustle today? What is it that you're going to do to outdo, I don't know, yourself from yesterday? And just remember, like, you're the CEO of you. So today I got a funny guy. Like, I sat across from him at the table, and if I want to get him going, all I have to do is say Tom Brady sucks, and we're on fire. It's like, it's a fire thing. But from Rhode Island, he's a comedian. This guy is funny, and I'm probably going to have to put subtitles underneath this just so you guys can understand him. But Brad Pierce, everybody. What's up, dude?
Oh, thank you for having me. This is awesome. I love the studio. I'm fascinated by all the Elvis stuff, like everywhere. Like Elvis, like this looks like Elvis might be nude inside here. Because you strike me more of as like a Motley Crue kind of guy.
Man,
like I didn't look at you like this guy loves Elvis.
Yeah.
That is not the vibe. I would have guessed, but apparently you love Elvis.
I am not a Motley Crue fan. Like, I'm not a Motley.
AC/DC?
AC/DC, I mean, you have to love AC/DC because they're legendary.
I'm just picking stereotypical groups that I feel like match your look.
No, dude. Well, you heard the intro? That's me.
Yeah, I know. It's much kinder than I expected.
Yeah, exactly.
And you seem like we only hung out one night, but you seem like a much gentler soul. Like, you look like a guy who would like smash a beer can over my face, but you're like the sweetest dude. You're like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, thank you for not punching me in the face. So yeah, you can't judge a book by its cover.
You cannot. I mean? And I actually wrote a song about that as well. But I'm an Elvis fan. But here's the thing: my band is called Elvis Monroe. Right? Okay. It's two icons. And what's crazy is I didn't buy any of this. All these are gifts from fans.
Oh, that's awesome. And
so on my birthday, it just seems like I get everything Elvis all the time. People find this is just right out of the Sunday paper. Someone will see that at a stand and buy it and mail it to me. And
you have nice fans. I don't have fans, but if you guys want to send me Tom Brady signed footballs, my birthday is August 6th. Feel free to any Tom Brady stuff. We appreciate it. Julian Edelman, Gronk. Send Gronk to my house. We'll have a drink. I'm looking at this camera. It's driving me nuts because I haven't slept in 3 days. I need a haircut. I need a shave. I feel like Vegas just kicked me in the mouth. Like I swear I looked better than this 3 days ago, but I haven't slept. You can't sleep in this town. It's literally impossible.
We were up till 3 the other night when we met.
Yeah.
You came walking in after a gig. We were at I was at Brett Ernst's show.
Yeah.
And you come walking in, and we sat out there till you about fell asleep at the table.
Yeah, he did the same thing to me last night.
Really?
Because once he talks, he doesn't stop.
No.
The dude does not stop. He's like a one-man podcast, and I'm just like, last night, I'm just like, and he just keeps like, Brad, you're doing everything wrong in comedy. Here's what you got to do. You got to do this. Let me tell you how it works. Let's start with like everything. He knows he's telling you how everything works, how football works, how comedy works, how the show business works, politics, how Italians cook meatballs, whatever. Like you're just like, and I'm like, yeah, but Brett, what about this? No, hear me out. So, and then it's like, next thing you know, it's 5 in the fucking morning. I'm like, how are you not tired, dude? You're 51 years old. I don't know. He's on Ritalin, a Coke, or I don't know what he does because he's like, I don't drink anymore. He doesn't
even drink. And the thing was, he said when he gets off the stage, he's just wired.
Yeah, me too. For like a half hour, not 7 straight hours. Eventually, I wind down.
And when I first met him, I told you said, "How'd you guys meet?" I said, "At a club." He calls me up to the table, and our girls are sitting there talking, and I said goodbye, and the next thing you know, it's 4:30 in the morning, and I had said goodbye 3 times.
Yeah, and those are probably the only words you got in the conversation.
That's true.
Yeah. Man, so I'm dragging ass, man. I barely slept since I got here.
Chasey walks in and goes, "This is on camera?" Like, wait,
I was like,
wait a minute. What? Well,
look, I'm not a guy who like I'm no pretty boy GQ over here. I don't really care. I wear a t-shirt and jeans every day, but I'm looking in the camera and I look like the fucking wolf man. Like I look like shit right now. And I do podcasts at home that someone shoots with like an iPhone 2. And it's like behind the funny. You can't even see like that's a human sitting there. So this is like a nice studio. It's very purple. Like I feel like I'm doing Grimace's podcast. Like
yes. We pick the color every day. Today I walked in and said, you know what, Chase, let's make this purple. Sometimes it's red on the bottom, blue on top. I change it up.
Well, it matches
every
my
day.
t-shirt, so
it
that's
does.
appropriate.
We're shouting out to the comedy bus,
baby,
in Providence.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So that's appropriate.
So you got it. When I met you, I was like, I go, one of my closest friends, he's like a brother to me, is Chuck Capello Heavy Transport in Boston, Shrewsbury, Mass, right? And he gives me this because I always dig how you guys talk, but you don't talk like this.
It's similar.
Very similar. You were telling me. And I make people read this every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it would be honestly easier for me to read it if you just spelt it the right way and I just talk normal.
I know.
It's the H's are fucking with my head. Can we swear on this thing?
Yes,
I don't know.
you can.
Is this
Yes,
going
you
on? This
can.
isn't going on Lifetime or anything like that?
No, you're good. It's not on Bravo.
No, it's not. We're right after The View. It's just me and you in a purple room. Yeah.
Dude, if he was here, I'd have him on the show. We wouldn't get anything done. We wouldn't talk about anything, but I'd have him on the show. So did you grow up there? Did you grow up in Rhode Island?
Yeah, Rhode Island my whole life. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And being a comedian, how long you been doing this?
It's somewhere in the somewhere around 10 years.
Okay.
I get confused. COVID subtract time,
Come
and I just call it 10. I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
about 10.
So 8 years of doing it and 10 years of just trying to do comedy over the internet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh my God. Zoom shows. I got hired. It was like, I forgot the name of the company, small company. And I'm just sitting there in my pajamas, just like shitting on these employees. And like, it's weird because they're like, do we laugh? Do you see people's kids in the background? There's dogs. And I'm like, I don't even know what to talk. I don't want to do a bit. I'm sitting on my laptop. Like, I don't want to. It sucked. That was
weird?
The worst.
It's weird. It's weird. We did shows. And I did a special for Hawaii, and we performed it. We weren't even all in the same room. My bandmates were all over the country, and we all linked up and performed that way. And it ended up on a special for Hawaii. But it was weird. I'm just sitting there with my iPhone, watching the screen, singing along to what they were playing.
It's so weird. It was so
crazy.
depressing.
Yeah, that was a tough time.
Yeah, I looked exactly like this during that time. That's exactly how I looked for the 2 years that went on.
So the kind of comedy that you do. By the way, how'd it go last night with Brad?
God, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know?
There were some things about it. The audience. See, as a comic, you're not supposed to blame the audience, right?
Right.
That audience sucked, though. They were like very low energy.
Really?
Like low energy.
It's
like
Vegas,
comatose.
10 o'clock a night.
Like they were like
Wednesday.
on life support. And so it was okay. I had some fun. I was busting Brett's balls afterwards because I'm like, before I get on, because he knows I do crowd work. And she said, don't get him too riled up. It's Vegas. They get nuts. I'm like, dude, too riled up. Like, I'm just trying to keep these people from falling asleep. And like, I felt like shit, but then like I watched his set and they weren't super energetic for him either. So I was like, all right, now I don't feel. But they would laugh and shit. They weren't the worst audience.
Okay.
But I would appreciate a little more energy since I'm barely ever here. And I get to do once in a while, I get to do something like that in Vegas. So I was hoping for more. And I don't know. I don't know. Pretty much any set, there's going to be things that I'm like, oh, I like this, or I like what I said that. Oh, I shouldn't, like, I wish I'd changed this. Or I'm never content. You know, I'm always like, I could have done better. You know what I mean?
That's the goal, though.
Yeah.
After every show, when we're on tour, we get on the bus and we're on the high for a little while and we're rolling down the road. And then we all gather in the center and talk about the best parts of the night. Yeah. And then we talk about, okay, what can we improve on for tomorrow night? Yeah. You know, like even the banter between the songs, or you know, my ears went out and blah, 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 whatever it was, whatever technical problems, whatever we can do, we want to outdo yesterday or today. We want to do that tomorrow. Yeah. So that's the goal, man. That's what we got to do. But did you always know you're going to be a comedian?
So no, people will ask me like, did you think were you a funny kid or what? I don't know. I knew I didn't want to work. That for sure. I always knew. I don't ever want a job. That I knew for sure. And I was always extroverted. I know a lot of comics are introverted.
Right.
I think that's why the way I do my act is I like to talk with the audience and to the audience instead of at them.
Right.
Because I'm an extroverted person. So, and then after high school, like I had no direction. Like my older brothers, great students, always had direction, always had good jobs. Like just went into school, went to college, like the regular thing. And I was the black sheep. And I had started, the first thing I did was I started a public access show. So I was like Wayne's World back then. Like that was my life was like that. And that was like pre-YouTube and pre-Facebook. Like I was like, we'd see these stupid public access shows. And a buddy of mine, Steve, at the time, we would always joke around. He's a funny dude. He could do a lot of voices and shit, imitations. I cannot. I can only talk like an idiot. That's all I can do. But I was like, hey, we should do a show. And he's like, I'll do that. And so we started this public access show called The Golden Mic, which is why I have this huge laughing golden mic on my arm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's where I started. And I would do some man on the street interviews. We would do little stupid sketches and phony commercials and stuff. So
is that on the internet now?
So I could dig up some like old clips, for sure.
Cool.
So then that kind of progressed, and pretty early on, like in my early 20s, I knew I wanted to do stand up, but I was a bitch about it. I kept, maybe, and then I would be like, I gotta wait. I don't know, but I would make a lot of excuses.
Right.
So I did that show, and then YouTube comes along. I would do things on YouTube and everything, but always knew deep down I want to fucking do stand up. It was actually a college professor of mine. A guy, rest in peace, Professor Tip. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he told me one day, it was script writing class, and we were talking about comedy, and he's like, "Why don't you do stand up?" And I don't even remember what I said. I rattled off a bunch of excuses. And he's like, that's all bullshit. You're just afraid. That's it. That's the only thing.
When was the day? When was the day that you said, okay, I'm going to go do this?
Okay, so I was driving home that day, and I'm like, man, that guy's right. Fucking guy's right. The sad part of this story is when I started stand-up, I reached out to him and found out he had recently passed. So I never got to tell him, dude, you were right, but I'm doing it now. It always breaks my heart because like I needed that guy to tell me like, you're being a pussy, basically.
Right.
So my buddy Ed Wiley, he's a comedian down in Georgia. He started maybe a year before me. He would call me all the time, dude, you got to just stand up. He was doing it, and he's like, this is for you. This is for you. And I was like, maybe. He called a local comedy club and put me on like an open mic showcase thing, like signed up under my name, calls me and says, hey, you're signed up for Sunday, whatever it was, a month away. I thank him all the time.
Really?
If it wasn't for him, I would have probably never done it. I'd probably still be working at the fucking hotel that I hated that job. So I needed that push, Right. Sometimes in life you need a push. And it was tough to figure out my voice, my act, and everything. But I'm so thankful that Ed pushed me, and I'm thankful for my wife, who's always supportive of me being a nutcase. She's another one. It's like super successful, great student, wicked hard worker, not a lazy bone in her body. And I don't know why the fuck she ended up with me, but she was always supportive of the arts, like the film and the comedy. She's always like, you should do stand up. But she's been like super supportive of me. So people like her and my brother Jay and stuff, when I was going through that rut of like knowing what I wanted to do, but wasn't doing it, like they pushed me, and I'm very thankful for that.
That's awesome. It takes a certain. Chase is an opera singer, so he's an artist as well.
He struck me as an opera singer. Yeah, I took one look at that dude and I said, I bet that guy wears a Viking helmet and belts out some opera.
You nailed it. That's exactly right.
It's like he looks more into Moby, I guess?
Yeah, maybe. But it's that it takes a certain type of person to do what we do as artists. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it that night until 3 a.m. And that's what we were getting at. Everybody was talking about this even the way we have to approach stuff. Here we are, artists, everybody's in bed, they're REM sleeping, and we're up talking about our art
Yeah.
and what we do, and when we get to do it next. And
You can't shut it off.
no, and I watched Brett look at you and go, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And you're like, "I think I got some shitty gig," jokingly. And
Yeah,
then
which was true.
and he's like, "Come do 10, 15 minutes in front of my show," and you're like, "Done." And I'm
Yeah.
like, I watched that happen, and that's what's really cool. And
Yeah.
then we're walking out, and he goes, "That guy's a beast. He's a beast."
That's
And he said that about
I'm
you.
very thankful for that, and like appreciate him. Giving me opportunities,
Right.
encouraging me, and stuff like that. Because he's much further along in his career, and he's a cool guy, and you never know what to expect. The first time I worked with him, I'm in Rhode Island. I don't work with a lot of guys on television and shit like that. So I'm like going open for him. I'm like, this guy's probably a fucking douche. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm looking at his picture with his gold chain, and he looked like some kind of like Italian rapper on this image on this flyer we had. I'm like, this guy's gonna be a fucking douche. So I totally went in with like a negative attitude. Like I was like, hey, how you doing? I'm Brad. But in my head, I'm thinking this guy's gonna be cocky and shit. He was super nice. Real nice dude. So thanks for telling me that. I appreciate
And I
that.
guarantee he was backstage watching your set because that's what he does. When I go back there early, he sits and watches the opening acts.
That's
he
really
makes
cool
sure
of
that
him.
he sits and pays attention, and he'll turn it up, whatever, because there's a TV back
Yeah.
there, and he's listening and paying attention, which is really. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very,
Because-
very cool of him. I'm very appreciative of that. Not everybody's like that. So
No,
when
they're
you
not.
meet people like that, you appreciate them.
But the thing is, he knows because we were running in the same circles, and he talks about playing the comedy store, in LA, and having to roll in the morning and grab a ticket and hope that you get a slot that night, and then go do your job and then come back later
That's
just to get a
crazy.
gig. But you don't understand what we have to go through. I said this. I was telling Chase early on, I'm like, man, I've been working for myself since 2010. And during COVID, I had to get a job, and
Brutal.
because we're in the entertainment business. And I'm like, the fortunate thing is I work hard, and I was like one of the best workers there. I was like the top guy. So I know how to do that, but I know that I don't want to do that.
Yeah, your heart's not in that.
I have earned this right. And it took a friend there that day going, dude, they're trying to promote you. You need to get the fuck out.
That's a trap.
Yeah, he goes, you
fuck
need
that.
to get the fuck out.
You're better
He
off getting
takes me to
fired than
lunch.
promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, go, because you're getting comfortable. You're getting comfortable with this.
Oh, how
And-
depressing is that?
Yeah, no, it is.
Oh,
And
God,
the thing is,
it's just
we talked
sucks
about
the soul.
Yeah. No one
Oh,
understands, man.
brutal, dude.
People don't understand
Nah.
when you do what we do. It's not that everybody out there. I commend you for having a job and being
Well, somebody's going to
committed.
do the responsible shit. I'm not
exactly.
going to be a nurse, so somebody's got to do it.
Right? Exactly.
Otherwise, we're all fucked.
We are. So at the end of the day, though, it was one of those things where I thank him, and I'll just drop him a text from time to time because it was coming out of COVID. He goes, "You got to go.
Yeah.
Like it's starting to open up for you. You got to get out of here." And I forget that I can do one gig and make more than I do an entire month of working at 40 hour a week
How
job.
cool is that?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you stack those on. So anyway, there's that thing, and we're chasing the unknown, and we're chasing that feeling. There's a high
Oh, yeah.
that we get. And there's that, because I watched some of your
nuts.
stuff, man, and okay, I got to ask this question. It's a two-part question because
Sure.
you go into it. Do you have, when you go on set, I have a bit that I'm doing, and then you go off when you spot people in the audience? Because I notice you do a lot of crowd work.
Yeah, so I go into a set, typically speaking, with an outline in mind.
Okay.
And I use crowd work to get in and out of bits. So if I talk to a couple in the crowd, I'll talk about them, and then I'll transition into the jokes I have about me and my wife, and again, how she's always been successful and I've always been a screw-up. Then I'll also, if I ask them, hey, what kind of work do you do? I'll make jokes about how for 10 years of my life, I literally just quit recently. During the week, I would host karaoke at different
that's
bars.
right. We talked about that.
So I would, if what I'll do is I'll ask them what they do, and then I'll make a joke about how I'm like, I'll make fun of their job, but then I'm like, who the hell am I to talk? I freaking, you know what I mean? So then I'll do that. It's a lot of in and out. So like I have like a Halloween joke. I'll ask people, what's your favorite holiday? Screw around with that. Do the Halloween bit. So I like to go in and out, where when I first started, it would be like joke. And I would get so in my head about like, what's my next line? What's my next bit? And I'd be like, my wife would be like, dude, you look robotic. But as I started to mess around with crowd work, I'd get off stage and my wife and my friends would be like, oh, the best part is when you go off script. You looked way more comfortable. I was like, well, because I'm more comfortable. And I know that's like the opposite of a lot of comics.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's, again, it goes back to the fact that I'm extroverted. A room full of people, I have a microphone. I'm not uncomfortable talking to a room full of people on a microphone. But the only time I've had issues with getting uncomfortable is when I'm like overly trying to memorize a script, because I'm not an actor.
Right.
Like when I did my stupid public access shows, we wouldn't sit down and have a script. We would literally be like, okay, we're going to do a goofy commercial for this, this energy drink that makes you shit out of your ears or whatever. We would just be like, that's the premise. All right. And we would just ad-lib the whole time.
Right.
Like, so the part of stand-up of like memorizing, but you got to do it. And I do have bits with written lines, but as I talk to people, I get more and more comfortable. And then sometimes the bits will just come up organically. A lot of times I'll be doing a crowd and somebody will, if I'm not right in Rhode Island, will instantly mock my accent from the crowd. And then I have a joke about my accent. So now, because they just did that launches me into my bit about how I'm from Rhode Island and how I talk and everything. So that's how I like to do my act.
That's
awesome. The weaving in and out.
Yeah.
So it's more conversational. You know what I mean? I like that.
That's Ben and I are very much the same. We have, here's our set. I put a little time in between, and because he's my best friend, we're up there and we can rip on each other and or the room. And I don't care if it's 3,000 people or 10,000 people. We're standing there like we're playing to 8 people in the room and having fun with them. And getting them to sing along, and you're not loud enough, and come on.
So we're all together.
We're all in this little, and pulling them in. And one of my favorite singer-songwriters from Vertical Horizon, Matt, the singer, he watched that happen. And we were playing to 5,000 people, and we were the opening act. And I invited him up to sing with us. I'm like, we have a song, sounds like an anthem. It's for the city, blah, blah, blah. If you want to join us. And he said he watched this crowd this big crowd get smaller and smaller and lean into us. And he goes, I want to be a part of it. Like the guy doesn't stand in front of thousands of people that are his crowd. So he ended up, I look over and he's on the mic singing with me, and I introduced him to the crowd. I'm freaking out, that he actually joined us. And I just met him 2 minutes before I took the stage.
That's so
Let him
cool.
know he's like, you're one of my favorite singer-songwriters. And, so it's that, and I love that. I love having that.
It's together.
Exactly.
On this ride together.
Exactly.
This
Now,
journey.
speaking of ride and journey, right here, Comedy Bus in Providence, you talked about leaving karaoke because you went to.
Yeah.
So
for years now, I would. I kind of transitioned from DJing full time to doing comedy on the weekends, but I still need to make money during the week. So I would do karaoke during the week, comedy on the weekends. And then when this Comedy Bus thing came along, it just jumped up my comedy schedule like a ton. Basically, a dude at a club back home reached out to me. He said, hey, this guy that comes in the club all the time, him and his wife, they have this idea for a business of a comedy bus where they do like a tour bus through Providence with comedians. And I thought of you right away. I think you're the perfect fit for it. Can I give him your number? I said, all right, yeah, I'll meet this guy, but I'm thinking comedy. It's like, what the? Oh, I just stepped on a wire.
Right.
Be good. I'm like, comedy on a bus, like that's, I don't know, man, that sounds fucking crazy. But because I've done so many shit shows, and I often work well with chaos. I'm like, I know I could do it. It's going to be tough to book a lot of comics because I've seen some really good comics eat it on that bus because it's hard because they can get rowdy and it's like you're on a moving vehicle. Like comedy clubs are dark and there's a spotlight on you and everyone's tight for a reason. It's all the focus is on you. I'm on a moving bus with the windows open. There's nothing but distractions.
Right.
And they're drinking.
And you're moving. And
they all brought coolers.
They all get to bring their alcohol.
Yeah. So it's It's crazy. So when we met him, his name is Mike. We met up maybe 6 times before he had even launched. He was going through a lot of the legal things you got to go through with the city and everything. But right away, he's like, you want to see the bus? And I'm thinking this guy's just got an idea. But he's like, he already had the bus ready to go. Full sound system, totally like redid the seats, full painted. Everything was ready to go. And then, so it was a progress. But now we just passed the 1-year anniversary of the comedy bus. It's been going. People love it.
That's
love
cool.
it. It's packed.
So how's it work? They actually talk about how that works. They book a ticket.
Yeah, you go on the comedybus.net. There's like a full schedule. You see what dates have availability, how many seats are open. A regular ride is 90 minutes. It's one comic does about 30, 35 minutes on the way to a brewery or a bar. We stop there for a half hour. You get back on. A different comic performs a different route back. And that's a standard one. Then we do like brunch ones that are longer. We go to 2 places. You get some breakfast. It's a little more involved.
Oh, wow. How
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So say the .com again.
It's comedybus.net. I guess comedybus.com was taken already, and they wanted like fucking $12,000 for he's like, screw it, we'll call it .net. So it's comedybus.net.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's been a huge blessing because at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do comedy on a bus. Like, I went from that to like, man, I love this. I can't even imagine
That's
not
awesome.
doing it.
But you found a niche, and
Yeah.
then you can go off and do comedy, the comedy clubs. But
Oh
you
yeah,
ride the
because
bike.
you're out. The buses they don't go that late, so you're always out in time to go do a show.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
And I introduced you guys to Patty Miracle from Daytona.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she texted me today, and I told her I had you on the show, or I'm having you on the show. She said to say hello. She said, I'm bringing him out.
He's
so got to
sweet.
come do my comedy club. And I didn't know she owned a comedy club. I just call her the mayor of
She seems like she
Daytona
runs shit
Beach.
down
She
there.
does. She's
Yeah.
like the mayor of Daytona Beach. It's no joke, man. We played the third venue, and she just happens to be there. And they walk up to ask us back to play, and they look at her and say, "Can we have them back? Is that okay with you?" And I'm like,
'Cause she
what are you,
runs
the
shit.
mob? You know, like
She's got that presence
she
about her. She
does.
seems like such a strong woman. Yeah.
Yes, and she
And
owns
sweet.
she owns a radio station. She's like the rehab lady who rehabs bars, or as you say, bars.
Yeah.
And so it's cool. You know, it's a
Yeah.
really cool thing. So hey, Chase, on one of the clips I gave you, I think I found on his Instagram, which is Brad Pierce comedy.
Comedian. Brad Pierce
Comedian.
comedian.
There
Yeah.
you go. There's him on the bus. And play one of those clips.
Yeah, you got it, brother.
Please, man. I appreciate that.
Pull that bad boy up.
Dude, I can't thank you enough for doing this. And I love having a show like this that I met you. I'm like, this guy's got great vibe. You know, Brett said you're a beast. And then,
thanks, man. I appreciate
and then
having
I
me.
text you, and I'm like, how I should have had you on the show. I should have planned it right then when we were sitting there.
Oh, this is perfect.
You know,
this
so
is perfect.
It's cool, man. Thank you.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah, it's fire away.
Alrighty. Let's see.
I love the contrast of the 2 birthdays. We get this guy and all his shitbag friends hanging dildos on the ceiling. And then this guy who's just so glad to be alive one more year. Like, this is his big day out right here. Like, he's going to do this. He's going to go by Twin River, play a couple slots, and he'll be in bed by 5. Love the
That's awesome.
So you can see what I mean about the
Yeah.
chaos. They literally hung a huge dildo from the freaking. See, now it's not always that crazy, but sometimes you get a birthday party, they get a little rowdy.
Right,
So you
right.
got to be able to,
That's-
switch lanes. Like you can't just stick to a script on that bus.
That's funny. Dude, there's another one where not there. Oh, this is even
Thank
better.
you so much.
I love you. Come on in. That's
Lena,
not for me.
thank you
Both
so
are
much.
from him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm an alcoholic, and he's drinking high C orange punch. I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, you got to get on camera. Did you get on camera?
I mean, I'll be honest. I'll
This is our
crack one of those open
bartender.
with you.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
we
Yeah,
go. Oh, yeah. This is our bartender. She has her own show. What's your show?
Laughing with Lana.
Laughing with Lana. You have any questions for this fellow comedian here? He's from Rhode Island.
What joke makes you uncomfortable?
Did I say or somebody else? What do you mean by
Someone
that?
else would joke about.
I don't know if they. I don't know. I don't like when people say, like, overly talk about like sperm or ejaculate. I would think. Here's the thing. I don't think anything's really off limit. But when there's certain words. Like I think if you're going to say a joke that it has that, I think you should use the word splooge. Like I think that's a funny word.
Splooge?
But I don't like the word like cum in a joke. Like
What
I don't like it.
No, what was your word? Splash?
Oh, in German it's a spritz.
That sounds nicer. They should just call it that. Which is funny because usually everything they sound so aggressive and awful.
You know,
Like spritz, like that doesn't sound.
yeah. Well, you know,
She's a
like,
classy lady.
you spritzed on him.
Spritz on him. That's awesome. Thank you for the drinks.
Don't ask
Thank
me how I
you.
know that.
That's so funny.
My mother's gonna love this episode. I'm the idiot that answered that. I should have came up with, but it just came to. I don't like.
You should have said politics.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like with certain words that they'll use. And I'm like, nah, it cuts.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it cuts wrong to
Yeah.
your ear. I shouldn't have said that, but because my mom's gonna be like, "Oh, let me check this out, see what Brad was doing out in Vegas," and she's gonna throw up and be like, "Brad, how could you?"
That's funny.
My wife's gonna be like that too. Look at you getting spritzed in the studio. I'm gonna hear it from her too now. I couldn't have picked something like I don't like when people talk about waffles or something. What the fuck?
So there's another clip of him. I think it's like 55 and over show or something like that. Like,
Oh, down in Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
That was in Florida, over 55 community.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
funny.
Let me pull that up real fast.
Sure,
I gotta-
sure.
What a great audience they were.
How's that beer, Chase?
You know, it's better than I was expecting it to be for a Coors Light. You know.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
I find it refreshing right now.
Me too. You know. All right. Let's see. I think I got this here. Let me
Okay,
just pull
perfect.
this up and pull that audio up, and we should be good to go on here.
Prostitute.
Oh, you got to back that up
That guy is my
You know.
because he asked him a question.
I asked him what would
Yeah.
he buy if he won the lottery.
Yeah, you gotta back-
Because
okay.
it's Instagram, you just got to let it play over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
man.
you guys should just fill some time for a second.
Okay.
I'll watch this.
Oh,
Over
Sure.
55 community, Florida. My friend Mary Ellen is a comedian. She's from Rhode Island. She went down there to retire, like all old Rhode Islanders do, go to Florida. And she runs comedy shows for her little over 55 community.
Oh,
And she said,
wow.
"Oh, come do this show." And I was like, "Sure." And man, that age is great because they don't give a shit anymore.
I love that.
College kids, you got to worry about getting offended. Over 55 community in Florida,
Yeah.
you could say whatever the hell you want. They don't give a shit. in
College
that.
will cancel you.
Yeah. They
I-
don't care at that age. They're just half in the grave. They don't give a shit.
My radio guy did that. He calls me up and says, "Hey, you want to make me look good?" And I went, "What's that? How do I do this?" And he goes, "I live in this community. Could you come perform?" And this was like in April of the summer. And I went, "For you, I will." And I go out there. The show's at noon. It's their lunch. It's their lunch. The coolest thing though was the stage was like this cool pavilion. Like they're camping, or they're picnicking, they're sitting on the tables.
So it's like stadium style seating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people are being wheeled in and whatever. And when I had so much fun, and one of the guys walks up to me who was friends, he goes, Did he tell you who you were coming to play for? I said, I had an idea. I knew who I was coming to play for, but I was doing it for him. Maybe to help him with the ladies. I don't know, like here, And this is what I was saying. And he said, I loved how you built a bridge from where you were, looking the way you do. Then you built a bridge to these people who they got involved. They were in it. I was doing an acoustic show for them.
And I'm sure they appreciated the hell
It was
out of
so cool. I took
Yeah.
more pictures and signed more, little things for them, and heard stories about their first concerts. And they're telling me how they saw Elvis, the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, like all these cool stories that you wouldn't hear from anybody else, And I left there so just feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like that was worth doing.
Isn't that cool?
for him.
When you're like, oh, this show's probably going to suck, and ends up being awesome.
It was great, and it made me feel like I did something, and it wasn't for the money, it wasn't for any of that. It was, I paid the guitar player who had to come do it because my guy was like, I can't, and I'm like, I'll make it happen. They don't know the difference,
Yeah.
I'll go out there and we'll have some fun. So I know that. And so play this clip. I want to say it was funny. It made me laugh.
And here we go.
Friend, sir, what would you buy if you won the lottery?
Prostitute.
Prostitute. That guy is my hero, right there. This is why I love this community. This age where you just don't give a You guys are awesome. This guy's got his arm around what I'm assuming his wife. He's like, I buy a prostitute. If I said that, my wife would stab me in the ballsack.
That's her voice laughing.
Oh, really?
I can't believe you said you get to the stage, no one gives a shit. She's like, yeah, you know what? Go I don't want to deal with your old saggy balls anyways. Take the prostitute. You guys are my hero. I wish people my age could be so free. That's amazing. I hope you win the lottery and you get all the prostitutes you treat for. I am getting my fingers crossed. Please win that lottery. Get syphilis, get all gonorrhea. Who gives a shit at your point, right? Who cares? Go Steve. We're all rooting for you. Bang those hookers.
That's awesome, dude.
That community feel. They all
Yeah.
know each other.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, Steve. Like they all know each other.
Right.
I love that. It was great.
It's
It was
so
fun.
cool.
It was that crowd. So awesome.
Yeah.
Such an awesome crowd.
I know what
Yeah.
what you connected to. That's
that
so
was
cool.
It's cool because I noticed at the beginning of the clip too, you could hear his southern accent.
Oh,
At the beginning, I
yeah.
picked up on it just now. Yeah, because we were way down there. Yeah.
That's funny. So you were saying there was another clip because I asked you, about a clip, and I told you that you'd have to set it up. I said, "Is there a favorite clip that you have, like that's on your social media or whatnot?" Again, it's Brad Pierce, comedian, on Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
my Instagram and my YouTube. I don't use TikTok a lot, but my TikTok's the same handle. They're all Brad Pierce comedian.
Okay.
So yeah, this clip was I don't know, like comics always talk about like, oh, you got to find your voice. I really think this was the night and the set where that happened for me.
Yeah.
I was about 5 years in, and I was doing a spot at a new talent showcase. It's called at Gotham in New York. Which I got just through a friend. It's all who you know in this business. I couldn't just walk into Gotham and be like, "Hey, I'm Brad." Nobody gives a shit. They want to. I was like 5 years in. I got a connection through my friend Bill, and I drive 3.5 to 4 hours over there with my wife. I have to do 5 to 6 minutes.
Oh wow.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like
It's
it's
like
a
playing
day.
a song.
It's
Yeah.
a day. So I'm nervous. It's a very famous club. I'm driving all day with my wife, who I don't want her to see me do bad and then drive
Right.
home. And it's a Tuesday night, but it's a full house. Crowd's full. So, I'm nervous and on edge or whatever. And I'm in the back with the other comics, and I hear one of the comics say, "Oh, did you hear Jim Gaffigan's coming in to do a guest spot?" And they're all excited. And I'm like, what the fuck? That sucks. Because, like, I don't want to deal with that extra pressure.
Right.
Like, he's going to come. Who's going to give a shit about me when
Right.
that guy's here? So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm texting my couple of buddies back home. What the fuck am I going to do? Gaffigan's supposed to come in. Which I know now that's very common in these places. At
Right.
the time, I didn't realize how common that was.
Right.
So I said, what the fuck? So the show's I'm like later in the lineup on the list of comics, and everyone's doing 6 minutes. Sure enough, I see him in the corner of my eye. I haven't gone up yet, of course. I'm like, I couldn't have just gone up, got it out of the way
And then
before this
found it out,
asshole
yeah.
shows up. So he's there. I'm texting me, fucking Gaffigan's about to go up. So Gaffigan goes up. He does 20, 30 minutes. Obviously destroys. Everyone's so excited. Oh my God, Jim Gaffigan's here. What the holy shit. He gets off stage. The host comes out and says, "Isn't this place great? You never know who you're going to see. This place is great." He goes, "I got another guest for you. Jerry Seinfeld's in the house." Jerry Seinfeld comes bopping up to the stage. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm so pissed off, right? I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I grew up my whole life watching Seinfeld. My whole fucking life watching that show. I've seen every episode 1,000 times. And now this fucking guy is 20 feet in front of me. doing his set, and I'm just sitting there just steaming, like, what the fuck? These other comics, they're all like over there freaking pleasuring themselves, so excited watching these two greats, and I'm losing my mind. I'm so pissed. So I get to a point where I'm texting my friends, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do a set. I'm not gonna do any jokes tonight. I'm not gonna do any jokes. And my friend's like, fuck it. I guess don't. I'm like, I'm not. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna do my joke about my grandmother or about Dunkin' Donuts, and after following two of the best joke writers ever, like,
Right?
no one wants to hear that shit. So when they called me up, I did. So the guy who runs the club, Andy, had come up to me and said, "Hey, you can still go up, but we're gonna cut you to 4 minutes because they ate up so much time." I'm thinking, thank God, give me fucking 50 seconds. That's fine. I'll go up. I'll say hi. I'm Brad. Good night, everybody. So I'm like, so the clip I gave you was like a abbreviated version, but I have on YouTube the full set.
Okay.
And it's on my YouTube. If you just literally just put Brad P.S. Jerry Seinfeld, you could find the full set as 420 or something like that of the whole set. But the thing I sent you, I think, was an abbreviated version of my set that night.
Do you have that?
I do.
That's the one. Let's play that, man.
Let's see.
So I wake up and I gotta impress my wife. Oh, we're gonna go to New York City and I'm gonna perform comedy because I'm a big star. And then Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan show up. Go up before me. I don't have much, guys. All right. I host karaoke for a living. My real life gets more laughs than my actual jokes. That's where I'm at. I actually host karaoke. That was not a joke. Karaoke is like the lowest rung of entertainment. It's like a step below sword swallowing. That is my life. And this was my big day in New York City. And Jerry and Jim, the assholes, had to leave before I could hit the stage with my amazing jokes about my grandmother. And then they cut my time. Believe it or not, their time is more important up here than mine. I'm sitting over there thinking like, all right, I'm going over my set. My grandmother's 100. She's a bitch. That'll be funny. I'm like, I wanted to come up here and like make some stupid joke about how the sky on this thing reminds me of the scene when the Ghostbusters villain's about to attack. And then the two greatest comedians on earth show up and f up my whole thing. I grew up watching this guy on TBS because they play his show 6,000 times a day. To just remind me how successful he is and how much of a failure I am. And then he shows up in the building I'm at to really put it in my face. He's like, I can do my jokes that I've been doing for 47 years. And I'll still get more laughs than you, little Brad. The dude has like the biggest show on the internet called Comedians and Cars. Guys, I have a show called Beverages with Brad. It gets like 3 views, and that's just me hitting the refresh button 3 times. I'm getting the like because my time's up. You guys, I'm sorry you didn't get to hear any of my amazing jokes.
Oh my God, dude.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, that's just like a
how do
little.
you follow? How do you? That's incredible, dude.
So that's just like a little, like a 2-minute breakdown
2 minutes.
of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I was just like, I'm not gonna go up and do bits.
That's great.
And then
Your energy was so up there, though. Like
I was pissed.
Yeah, but it was just, you know what I'm saying? It resonated. It was like you were in the moment, sharing with them exactly what's going on and how you felt.
I wish I could always be like, I strive to be as authentic and in the moment as I was in that specific moment. There are times where I get there. My goal is to always be there, to be that present. Because in that moment, I was just pouring out my heart to this crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that night really changed things as far as my act, my approach, and all that. And you know, my friends we still joke around about it. And I even have a bit I do about it and how they left and didn't even listen to me and all this shit. I do a whole bit about it.
Dude,
yeah.
It gave me chills just now hearing you say that. Because, you know, we go through, you had a friend who, you had a couple of people who pushed you.
Yeah.
And one told you that this is your path, this is what you needed to do, then one over here that just signed you up and said, this is what you're doing, you have a month to get ready.
Yeah.
And then, so, you know, in a hero's journey, you're stepping across into the unknown. And once you get through the unknown, you find people who are mentoring you along the way.
Yeah.
And helping you go into this unknown area. Was there a mentor in the comic world?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been several people that have helped me so much, specifically in comedy. Two of my really best friends are two comics, great, hilarious comics. One is Bill Simus and one is Mike Murray. They really gave me a chance when it's, you know, when you're starting out, it's hard to get on real shows or guest spots and stuff. They own a company called Funny for Funds, which they do comedy fundraisers. It started in New England. It started to expand outside of New England. It's a comedy fundraising company. All sorts of causes, whether it's Little League or someone with cancer bills, either from small to big. But it's such a successful company, so it just grows and grows. And when I was starting out, they'd be like, well, come do a guest spot. I did Bill's contest early on. He had a contest at the time for newer comics. I won that, and he just kept throwing me, well, do a guest spot. All right, well, do 8 minutes tonight. Okay, how about you host and do 10 minutes? And like those guys my first year to 8 years, I'd say 80-90% of my stage time came from those two guys. And they pay well, too. It's hard to get good money in comedy, and they pay very well. And they're very professional. They taught me a lot about how to run a successful show. You should have a good sound system. You should have a stool. Here's how the lighting should look. Like, those guys have mentored me a ton. They've helped me a ton.
Wow.
On the local level. Like I said, my friend Ed, he lives in Georgia. He really pushed me into doing it. On the local level, as far as guys I work with, Bill and Mike have, man, they've been huge for my journey. Look, you need reps. You need stage time. You're not going to grow without stage time. And those guys have given me so much stage time, and I'm so thankful for that.
Are they comedians too?
Oh yeah, they're both hilarious.
Okay,
hilarious.
That's awesome.
And Mike has such a crazy ass story because he was deaf until he was 40, and then he got cochlear implants. He always wanted to be a comedian, but it's hard to be a comic when you can't fucking hear.
Right.
He got implants. And he can hear now, and like literally as soon as he got implants, he started doing comedy. So this was all, I didn't know him when he was deaf. I met him after he had already been a comedian for probably, I don't know, 8 years or something.
Wow.
But his story's crazy, and him and Bill are good buddies, and they have just, their acts are very different from each other, but both funny, so they complement each other well. And those guys have been huge in my journey. Yeah.
That's awesome. So
yeah.
Is there, because, you know, like there are people that you know, we look up to, that we want to be like, that are almost like they're mentoring us from afar, from a magazine, from TV, you said Jerry Seinfeld was somebody that you watched, but is there?
Yeah, I love the show.
You love the show, but
which turns out I love the show because I like Larry David because I'm a negative, bitter, neurotic person. So,
wow.
So I was like, that's why I always like George. George was always my favorite character, which as a kid I didn't realize that's Larry David. But
wow.
But
okay.
yeah, I love that. And then, as far as like comics that I don't know that I look up to, is that what you're saying? You gotta love Patrice O'Neill, like his level of just not giving a shit, and his again, back to what we were saying about being authentic and in the moment. When you watch his clips and the way he's addressing the audience, it's like so natural and in the moment. So obviously that guy's legendary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, I guess that's something that I strive to be in the moment, genuine energy, genuinely engaging the crowd.
What you do outside, you have Comedy Bus in Providence, that you do, you know, quite a bit. You can go to comedybus.net but do you have shows that, because you're here in Vegas, we just met by chance.
Yeah, I did a couple of shows out here. I don't have anything lined up tomorrow yet. I'm kind of working on, I met a dude yesterday. He said, I hit this dude up, so I'm trying to get something tomorrow, but then I go back Saturday, and then I'll go back to my normal schedule. I have a private show Sunday in Rhode Island.
Very cool.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it is. I'd forget if it's a birthday party or something. I don't know.
Isn't that weird, though? Doing like random things where the one host or a couple of people know who you are, and you're just thrown in the mix,
Yeah.
and they want you to entertain at a party,
Yeah,
or whatever.
That's what it is. Like that guy Bill was just like, hey, I need you to do a show Sunday, and I don't even remember what it is. My wife always busts my balls. She's like, where are you going? where are you going now? You going where? And I'm like, I don't know. This place in Massachusetts. I do a joke about it because she's like, I never know where you're going. Like, you could get killed. Like, you could get murdered. And you know who they're gonna blame me because I'm the wife. They're gonna blame me. I'm like, so let me get this straight. So I go to do the show out in the New Hampshire in the woods. I get killed. They fucking cut me up. And your concern is you don't want to be questioned by the police. You're not like, oh my God, I'm so sad that my husband got eaten alive and stabbed to death. She's like, oh, I don't want to be bothered. Like, they're going to bother me about it. That was a real conversation. The real conversation. Because I do a lot of weird gigs. I don't, you know what I mean? It's freaking New England. I do birthday parties, bachelor parties, do a bus. I do fundraisers. Like I do, but wherever you ask me to, I'll be there. I don't care if it's four people. If it's four people, I'll come do a show for four people.
That's what I love. I love that. I'm trying to get Ben right now. Patty's in town, and we're her favorite band, and she is like, any chance you could play a few songs for my birthday while I'm out here?
It's awesome.
And I'm like, Ben, like we got to meet up with her tomorrow, and we got to play some songs. But I love doing it.
She'll be
one
psyched
person
about it.
For 10,000. I don't care. I love it.
She'll be wicked appreciative of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I know that we got to wrap this up, but Chase, any questions for Brad?
I was gonna ask. Have you done a show for very few people before?
Oh yeah, my smallest audience is 2.
There's something that I do sometimes where if I just happen to know like that there's going to be like just about nobody there, but this might just be like my school outlook, is like, I'll before I go on stage, I'll be like, we could always kind of agree that this performance happened.
I'll go home and say it was great.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that, dude. That's funny.
That's awesome.
We could all say what's the time of there being no audience energy,
that I did this. You loved it. I was great. Yeah.
I'll give each of you $10.
Yeah,
Call it good,
Smiling. Yes. Well, dude, I gotta say, just thank you for coming out here and doing this with me.
Thank you.
And what do you see yourself though? Like, what's the goal? Like,
oh man, somebody asked me this last night, and my goal as far as comedy and stuff from day one was like, I want to get good at comedy. Not much has changed. I just want to get better at comedy.
I love it.
I want to get better. I want to, come up with more material, get more comfortable with that interwoven natural style. More reps, more opportunities. I don't have like something. Like I want to be in the live action He-Man reboot. Like I don't want to, Brett got some 80s reboot thing, so I like to bust his balls and be like, wait till you see me in the Care Bears live action Netflix. Like I don't have a thing. Like I want to be in the new Star Wars. Like I don't.
No, I get that.
I don't know. I want to get better. I want more opportunities. Like coming out here and being able to do shows in Vegas, like, yeah, more stuff like that would be great. I like to perform out of my state. Like those old people in Florida, that was great. Like when the hell would I ever see those people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's fun. I love New England and I love living in New England. But it's fun to get out and meet people like yourself that I wouldn't have met if I didn't leave and experience new things. So I just want to keep doing that and try to get better. And
I love it. And you said yes without you obviously didn't even look to see that it was it was video. You just said yes to me. I'll come do your podcast. That was incredible.
I love this shit.
I could,
love it.
It could have been in Chase's basement.
Yeah.
This is my basement.
I definitely would have shaved and maybe got some makeup. Get Lana. Lana, I need some eye cream and
some eye spritz.
You can make my muscles like bigger. No, I love stuff like this.
No,
love it. Absolutely.
Super cool and it's fun. I'm trying to think God, before we go, I don't want to leave something on the table that I would have asked you. Because like you just said, to answering my own question, for me as an artist, I just want to be able to do it every day.
Yeah.
I want to be able to continue to do it. And when I'm hustling, when I keep putting the energy out there, it just keeps coming in.
Yeah.
The phone rings. to the point where I have to say no to things because there are only so many hours in a day,
Yeah.
and you know, you got to pick one. It's the first one I said yes to that gets the gig, and I love that, and I love having the opportunity. I said, you know, like I said earlier, I was telling my girl, I was like, man, you know, it's crazy because I love standing on stage, and I said this today. You pay me for the travel, and you pay me for all the other stuff on stage. I do that for free.
Yeah.
Because I love doing it.
Well, yeah, that's the crazy thing is like I need the money.
I
got
do
to pay
need it.
bills. But like when we started at the beginning of the show, we talked about COVID. I did these outdoor shows that were, I didn't get paid for any of them. I
Right.
did them because and it felt amazing to
Yeah.
go do them.
Therapeutic. It was.
I needed to do it.
That
So yeah, so that's
fulfilling. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So before we go, guys, this is Brad Pierce. If you're listening to Rock Rage Radio, it's Brad Pierce, a comedian on social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Like I said, Chase has his work cut out for him because he's got to put subtitles underneath everything. Now we'll just do that on the reels, but you're gonna have a tough time with that too.
Well, thankfully we've got editors do that now. So
Oh, okay, great.
It's not my
that's
problem
right. It's
anymore.
Not your, that's right. We have interns that do that stuff, so that's really cool. So, but dude, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being a part of this.
I had
This
a
is so
blast.
cool. I'll get you back to the strip. We'll head back that way together. But again, this is Brad Pierce. My name is Brian Hopkins. Chase, the voice, was running the
sir.
show. This show is so new. We're just about, it's like a little over a year that we've been doing this now, and I'm having a blast doing it. I want to thank the sponsors, JPS Computers, S&P Inc. We've got Rock Rage Radio out there. Thank you guys for doing that. And then a shout out to our, he's going, beer. No, a shout out to True Beauty by Trevor. And again, my name is Brian Hopkins. This is a Hero's Journey podcast. See you guys.
Dream, and I believe it's coming around to me.